a whole county full of them goats. All from the Hey, it's just for Beulah County. Yeah, right on your head like a bounty. Said I'm from Beulah, they know I'm from Beulah, so let me just go talk about my surroundings. Shout out them Eagles that's out in Geneva, them Lakers, oh yeah, that's Primetime and Valley. We from the football chasing these goals. If you in the way, you get taken out proudly. And Jefferson soaring with Falcon. Said that you working, you ain't really working. You see that we working, our hands got a callus. Putting in reps till we moving some mountains. Edgewood got warriors, they won't allow it. Me, I bleed green and gold, they know defeating those dragons who run the whole city. You wildin', and they really bout it. And next we gon' go to Grand Valley. Work like a horse and don't show no remorse. So opponents keep coming, we stack them and pile them. Yeah, and Connie I flooded with Spartans. As soon as they pull up on game day, we park them. Cause we number one in that spot, ain't a bargain. Man, shout out St. John, they be ballin' like Harden. This for the football. This for the football. This for the football.
All right, everybody. It is Wednesday night. Hold on. Let's make sure we've got sound. All right, we're good there. We've got the sound back to the preamble. It is Wednesday night, so you know what that means. It's time for the 440 Sports Show, Ashtabula's #1 high school sports show, right here on YSN, Ashtabula County's home for high school sports and all local sports for that matter. We've got a great show ahead of us tonight. We're going to have our Week 8 Player of the Week, which is a familiar face, a guy that a school we've already had on here, as well as a guy who's already received a Player of the Week in Ryan Croston. We'll talk about him more just a little bit. We'll be revealing the county leaders when it comes to stats. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, make sure you stick around for that one. The numbers this week are absolutely insane. We are going into week 9, and this is one of the biggest offensive years I think the county has ever seen. We have a race for the space at the top. Who is going to be Ashtabula County's top gun, as we have two quarterbacks who are right on top of each other. We've got a battle in the trenches as 4 running backs, 2 schools are fighting for the county's rushing title. That is going to be fun to watch, and we'll see where those guys are kind of sitting at right now here in just a little bit. Obviously, we are going to be going through the volleyball stats like we do every single week, and we'll talk about the games that happen on Friday and the games that will happen this Friday. Really excited because this week, obviously, as we start to hunker down in the season, all the Ashtabula County teams are basically playing each other. So all of those games are going to be right here on your home for Northeast Ohio Sports, YSN. But enough of me rambling. Let's get to the real reason why a lot of these people are here, and it's this guy right here, Ryan Croston, who is coming in as a second-year winner of the Player of the Week award. Kyle McGurr giving me my update. Kirtland and Jefferson going into a 5th set. I would love to read all those numbers. 23 to 25, 27 to 25, and 28 to 30, and 30 to 28 have been the sets. It looks like they are in an absolute dogfight out there. So congratulations to those girls. We will definitely be keeping up on that one. But getting back here to Ryan Croston. So this guy's a quarterback, and he can outrun most of the running backs right here in the county. He's been impressive all year. He's coming into his junior year, had big shoes, to continue to fill because he was a starting quarterback last year as well. This is a guy that probably could have been Player of the Week a couple other weeks as well. But between him and Ty Vickery, they get the job done over there in Lakerland, in Andover. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Ryan Croston to the show. Ryan, and there it is, a whole group of Lakers with you. What's going on tonight, fellas?
Not much.
All right, guys, before we get too far into the interview, I want to make sure everybody knows who they're looking at. So I'm going to have you guys introduce yourself, tell me your name, your position, and what year in school you are.
You want to go first? You got it. Fine. I'm Ryan Cross. I'm the quarterback, and I'm also an outside background defense.
Ty Vickery, running back, junior.
Landon Paul, offensive right guard, and then linebacker.
Sean Crosson, slot, outside backer.
So we got a whole group of Lakers out here. I'll tell you what, you guys are thick as thieves when you go out there. You usually don't find one without the other, and that's awesome. And that's on the field too. You guys all looking out for each other. And there's kind of a build up there as well. You guys came in, and I think all of you guys had pretty significant playing time. As early as your freshman year. So really some baptism by fire there. But it's really worked out as you guys are going for your 5th straight NAC title out there in Andover. What does that mean for you guys?
Just means another year of dominating the league, I guess.
I love it. I'll tell you what, I made a joke last time I was in Andover, and I said that the A in NAC stands for Andover, especially when it comes to football. I applied that to St. John for for volleyball, but when it comes to football, I'm telling you, as long as I can remember, the PV Lakers have been running that NAC, and that's a whole class that has gone through, and you guys are starting on another one this year. You had a little bit of a tougher start to the year, but you guys had some big-time opponents. Teams like Girard, who are, some of the top teams in Division 4, and you guys are, a Division 16, but you guys went out there and got it done. A lot of teams get shook up and quit. Not you guys. You guys shook it off and get right back to it. Excuse me, Ryan, going back to Friday night, you got 9 carries, 188 yards. You threw 3 passes. You went 2 for 55. One of those passes was for a touchdown. I'm pretty sure to the guy right next to you. So what was going on Friday? How did that game go? How did it break out?
Well, Matthews was sending 9 guys, and our line could pick up all 9. So then there's only 2 left, so then I could just rush wherever I wanted to pretty much. Same with Ty. You could do the same thing.
Yeah, and another interesting kind of dynamic with your guys' team this year is you go for 2. And not only do you go for 2 every time, you guys pretty much get it anytime you need to go for 2. And you give a shout out to the offensive line, and you got an offensive lineman right behind you, so that's a smart move to begin with. But coming into this year, how does that work? I'm going to focus a little bit on you and Ty together because both of you guys have the playmaking ability. Do you guys just kind of play it as it whatever the game is giving you? Do you guys feed off of each other? How does that work?
I would say we feed off each other. Usually if he gets a big run, then we'll follow it up with another 10 to 5 yard carry. Just keep the train moving.
So, Ryan, going into this junior year, obviously, you're an upperclassman now, but, you've had kind of a leadership role on this team since you were, being the quarterback, obviously. But what was something that you kind of wanted to take more seriously? You wanted to kind of sharpen that sort of thing coming into this year?
Well, this year we wanted to make sure we could compete in our out-of-conference games, which, I'd say the 3 top, Mineral Ridge and Roachtown, they were all close games. Mineral Ridge, we lost in the last seconds, and Roachtown, it was 14-6 with 5 minutes left, but we just gave up 2 touchdowns in the end. We've been able to compete with a lot of our non-conference teams, which is nice, I guess, better than last year.
Well, yeah, no, you guys, that's one of the things. And I think that was one of the things that was kind of up in the air about you guys this year because you had a rougher start, and we were wondering, are they going to pick it up? When are we going to start to see that old Laker ball? And you guys really kind of midway, I won't even say midway, by about game 4 of the year, you guys had really picked it up. And I think you looked in the mirror and figured out, yeah, we can run the ball. Figured that out pretty quickly. Ryan, you're a multi-sport athlete. You're a guy that not only do we call on the football field, but we talk about you on the basketball court, on the baseball field as well. Let's talk a little bit about how some of that training kind of crosses over and helps you get ready for football.
Like basketball, I'm pretty much a center, so I use all my strength to get rebounds and stuff because I don't really care about points. I'm more of a rebound guy. That's how my dad was. So,
what about baseball? How does baseball help you with football?
Baseball, I'd say more of controlling, trying to control my strength, for pitching. sort of.
Yeah, and you know what? You got to have that because we've seen that in the past, actually, too, with some of these state championship teams even. You look at a team like Chardon or even a team like Kirtland, but, they love to run the ball, and they run their ball. They run the ball all the way to Canton, but sometimes when you get to Canton, you got to throw that. You got to put that pig in the air. Mm-hmm. So, to have somebody who can throw and, again, you've got some guys, the guy right next to you can throw to him. You've got Noah Kowski and, of course, Ty, who the moment you forget that he can catch a screen pass, you're in deep trouble. Coming into this year, another big thing you're trying to get settled into as it's almost the end of the year, and you guys start to kind of get into playoff mode, and that's another thing that has become a normal part of PV culture. So, are those sort of thoughts kind of starting to settle in on you guys, or are you guys just worried about this week?
We've been looking at the playoffs. Right now, we just want to try to keep our home spot right now. I'm trying to keep in the top 8. So
that's outstanding. You know what I mean? Because I was there actually. I think it was a couple years ago when you guys hosted, and it was an absolute blast. I think I shot that from the top of the concession stand. First time I've ever done that. Yeah. So when Jeromesville or Jeromedale or whatever came out, and we got the dub out there in Andover. I talk a little bit about not a little bit. I talk a lot about Andover and the kind of support you guys get out there. Because I'm telling you, folks, if you've never been to a PV Laker game on a Friday night, it's loud. They are proud. They got cowbells and clackers, and there's trucks in the back throwing lights and all kinds of good stuff. What does that home field advantage kind of mean for you guys?
I guess it gives us a loud environment, gets us up even when we have our down moments.
Yeah, it's definitely. I think you're right. I think that's what it is, and I can see it kind of get you guys pumped up because you even look at a game like Southeastern when you guys played them, and they come in there 5-0, and I think you guys might have even been the dogs. Not to me. I knew you guys were going to get the job done because you don't beat Lakers in Andover, that's for sure. But you guys go out there and really started it, and again, I could hardly even get my my commentary out because those people were so loud. It's really, really fun to see. What is one of the things that we can look forward to seeing when you guys are on the field?
Our defense stops the run game a lot, and we like to run the ball.
That's for sure. I'll tell you what, and one of the credits I give, and you can hear this on the broadcast as well for both you and Ty, is you guys don't spend a whole lot of time going east and west. It's all north and south. You guys like to find the hole and get there, and that's, I think, in a large part due to some really great offensive linemen that you guys have out there. We talked a little bit, obviously, a lot about your offensive side of the ball, but you're pretty effective on the defensive side of the ball. Not only are you and Ty kind of racing to the finish for rushing yards, you guys are racing to the finish for tackles. So for you personally, when it comes to offense and defense, which one do you prefer?
I'd probably say defensive.
I'll tell you what, I believe it. By the way you hit some of those guys out there, I can see it. That's for sure. Another kind of curveball question, and this one is the last one I'll bug you about. When every team has kind of a different set of drills and that sort of thing. Obviously, every practice has a different flow. Every team has a different flow. What are some of the drills you look like that you love to do? What's your favorite drill?
I'd say my favorite's probably the pad level.
All right, go ahead and explain to it.
Like two guys, they put your shoulders down and they're hitting into you while you run the ball with like two hands, like almost like you're running through like an A gap on the line.
Yeah, so you think that, well, I'll tell you what, that's why you guys don't put that ball on the ground, and you guys seem to, be made of rubber because you guys certainly bounce off tacklers all throughout the year.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, guys, I want to thank you all for coming on the show tonight. I appreciate your time. You guys are going to get to see my face and hear my voice on Friday as I will be out there for the PV versus St. John game as you guys go for your 5th NAC title in 5 years. That's incredible. Absolutely incredible for you guys. Excited to kind of watch it and see where this season goes. And, week 11 is going to be here before you know it, but let's get through week 9 first. So thanks so much, guys. I appreciate you for coming on the show. I'll see you guys very soon.
Yep. See ya.
All right, everybody. That was Ryan Croston, the quarterback for the PV Lakers. This, again, I can't say enough about the kid. He is a phenomenal athlete. Since he was a youngster, as far back as being a freshman, him and Ty Vickery have both been kind of thrown into the fire, but I think they threw them into the fire because they knew that both of those guys could handle it. And you talk about the quarterback and the running back, that is 1 and 1A in that offense. They like to run the ball. They rely heavily on their offensive line, obviously, to do the job, but those guys earn those yards. You talk about there's two kind of different types of running in that backfield. Both Ryan and Ty are both very strong runners. Neither one of them are slow. Ryan probably a little bit faster than Ty. Ty probably a little bit harder to take down than Ryan. But they make use of that very well and keeping defenses on their toes, and you can never really be comfortable with those two in the backfield because, even some of these passes, they throw some screens and stuff like that. They'll throw the ball. Ryan Croston is a guy that does pitch for PV, so he can throw the ball if need be. Then they've got guys who can catch the ball. But when you've got a run game like that with two guys who are closing in on 1,000 yards already as we head into week 9, why would you pass the ball? What Woody Hayes said, when you throw the ball, only 3 things can happen, and 2 of them are bad. So, Coach Crosted out there really embracing that. But it's really fun to watch these kids play. And I'm looking forward to going out there to Andover this week and covering this game. It's going to, the crowd is fun to listen to. They really, really buy in out there in Andover. And if you don't believe me, go out and just see the support that these kids get out there. You talk about Ty Vickery becoming Ashtabula County's first ever Big Dog of the Valley. And how many votes that one took for him to become Big Dog of the Valley. Now, Big Dog of the Valley, 70 other schools vote on that award in particular. And you can vote unlimited. So, you're going up against schools where YSN has been a huge part of their culture for years and years and years. And you talk about Andover and the Pymatuning Valley Laker culture and the supporters setting up and just getting out there and getting votes in there, and Ty Vickery becoming the first one. It was really something to be seen. I love it. I honestly, it's really fun to watch, and it's something I'm really proud to be a part of right here in Ashtabula County. But yeah, a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to this one on Friday. It's going to be a fun one. We're going to see. I wonder who's going to break 1,000 first, whether it's going to be Croston or Vickery. It's one of those things that you can see that obviously there's a competition in between the both of them. They want to see who's going to get there first. But at the end of the day, those guys are all about making sure the team is going to come first ultimately. And you couldn't ask for anything better than that. And by the way, guys, both of them are juniors. This is a very, very young Pymatuning Valley Laker team. So these are the same guys you're going to see out there next year. So it's going to be fun. Let's get to some of the comments. Crystal Vickery says they both are getting 1,000 plus. Absolutely. And you know what? I'm glad you said that because I had a question this week because Conneaut has 2 1,000-yard rushers right now as well. And the question was, has that been done? And the answer is yes. And when did it happen? Last year. Both Ryan Croston and Ty Vickery both surpassed 1,000 yards to get each. So they're on pace to do that again this year. I tried to throw a little teaser out for tonight's show. We're going to go through those statistical leaders here very soon. The stats this week are bonkers. When I got these stats actually input and started to see where the leaders fell, I could not believe my eyes. Like, we have some very, very talented guys out here, very, very talented football teams, and the stats are going to show that as well. With that, let me go to my first break. I'm going to go for a very quick break. We're only going to do 2 quick ads for 30 seconds apiece. And then when we come back, we're going to cover the games from Friday. We're going to go through, Yeah, we're going to cover the games from Friday. We're going to talk about the volleyball leaders. And actually, here's what we'll do. We'll go to break. We'll cover the volleyball when we come back, and then we'll get into the games and bring out the leaders. I think that's probably makes more sense to go in that order. But this is a great time for me to remind you guys all that the 440 Sports Show is looking for advertisement. We're looking for sponsorships. If you would like to have your product or your business on here, I would love to talk to you. Message me on any of the social medias that we have, Facebook, Instagram, what have you. You can email me at 440andgoal@gmail.com. You can go to ysnlive.com under advertise. It'll give you all the rates and all those good things. It's a great way to get your product out there. It's a great way to get your business out there. And most importantly, at least to me, it's a great way to support kids in your community. All of these sponsorships, all of these advertisers help us continue to do stuff like this, put on shows, make the coverage. We've got playoffs coming up and stuff right now. It's going to be a great time. It's a great way to get your business out in front of upwards of 9 million views is where we were sitting coming into football season. And I think we're closer to 11 right now. Great regional broadcasting all the way down from Akron to the Mahoning River to Lake Erie, everything in between. 70 schools, more than 70 communities, all right here in one place. So great. It's a great way to kind of get your product out there, and I'd love to hear from you guys. So let's go to our friends from Toyota of Warren, and we'll be right back.
We believe expectations are made to be exceeded. At the new Toyota of Warren, it's about more than just getting a great deal. It's about service you can count on and a friendship you can trust. Year after year, we've done what we do best. We've gone the extra mile so you could too. Because we know it's just not about buying a new car. It's the start of a new adventure. Toyota of Warren, driven by you.
It means the world to me to know that what we're doing is impacting people. And whether it's simply, I got to watch my son or daughter when I was out of town, or we just love watching YSN. We love what you do for our son or daughter. So whenever someone says thank you or someone is appreciative of what we're doing, it tells me everyone at YSN is doing what we initially set out to do, which is shine a light on these athletes and help them kind of promote themselves. My name is Anthony Hartwig, and my sports network is your sports network.
That's right, everybody. My sports network is your sports network as well. You finally have a home where you're going to be able to find all the information you're looking for local sports about the athletes that matter. And those are the athletes that are right here, right now. The kids from your neighborhood, right here on YSN, getting the exposure that these kids truly deserve. Very, very happy that, we are where we are. It was a long haul to get here, and to get 7 out of the 8 Ashtabula County schools on board, I've never been more proud. And I want to thank all of the schools. I want to thank all of the administrators, all of the superintendents, all of the school boards, everybody who had enough foresight to understand that their kids deserved this free service. All right, everybody, let's get into the volleyball stats. We've got some great ones coming up this week. We've got some conference champions to be named and some stuff to talk about. All right, everybody, it's time for the volleyball roundup, and it is week 8. The Dragons, we're going to start with them this week. The Lakeside Dragons, 6-16 on the year. This is for the week of October 5th to October 11th. They go 1-1 last week, defeating Matthews, but taking a loss to the red-hot Jefferson Falcons. The Jefferson Falcons are zoned in right now, heading into tournament time. They could not have got hot at a better time. But as for the Lakeside Dragons, here are your stat leaders for this week. Andy Mokovsky with 120 kills. Tess Collins has 39 aces. Jasmine Colazo has 31 blocks. Tess Collins, their digs leader, with 304. And Andy Mokovsky, their assist leader, with 214. The Edgewood Warriors, who had a loss last week, but have come right back to their winning ways, going 3-0 this past week, defeating Geneva, PV, and Conneaut. Their stat leaders, I did not make a typo. That is one person with 3 category leads. Faith Venzel. Faith Venzel, a freshman over at Edgewood High School right now, is their kill leader with 267. Also their ace leader with 38. Also their block leader with 89. Their digs leader, another Venzel, but a different first name. That's the senior McKenna with 478. And their assist leader, Gianna Ianetta, with 627 assists. How incredible is that? Again, I talked about it last week. One of the big career milestones is hitting that 1,000 mark, right? You get 1,000 assists, 1,000 digs, 1,000, kills. I don't know if anybody's had 1,000 blocks, but that would be incredible. But here's Gianna Ianetta over at Edgewood, and she's got 627 assists in 1 year. How incredible is that? Moving right along, we're going to the St. John Heralds, whose streak was ended last week. Now, St. John had not lost a single set since August 23rd. They ran into the big bad Jefferson Falcons, who came into this one. I told you they're red hot, playing super well, and they actually lose a set and also lose a match to this one. Still remaining 18-2. The Heralds go 2-1 last week, defeating Badger and Conneaut, taking that loss to Jefferson. Incredible year so far for the Lady Heralds, though. Your kill leader is going to be Gabby Johnston. She's also going to be one of your ace leaders, as she is tied with Alexa Jordan at 55. Your blocks leader is Izzy Holler at 23. Alexa Jordan is your digs leader with 366. Your assist leader is Lizzie Ducro, who also celebrated hitting her 1,000th assist, I believe, last week. And congratulations to the ladies of St. John, as you are the 2023 NAC champions back to back, like Drake said. All right, your Jefferson Falcons, I talked about them being red hot, right? 18-2 is how hot they are. They went 3-0 last week, defeating St. John, Lakeside, and Geneva. Your stat leaders this week for the Falcons, Chloe O'Rourke with 350 kills. Your ace leader is Sarah Stone with 52. Cassidy Blood is your block leader with 27. Marilia Matuz is your dig leader with 278. And Helena Edgar, who also is now the Jefferson Falcons all-time assist leader, breaking the old record of 1,776. Thanks for that information, Kyle McGurr. Your assist leader this week with 617. And another congratulations is due to the Lady Falcons, as they are the 2023 first ever CVC Lake Division champions this year. 18-2, 9-0 in the conference. Congratulations to you ladies on taking the first ever CVC Lake Division championship. Excellent year. Conneaut Spartans, who are 5-16 this week, they went 0-4 last week, taking a loss to Madison. It looked like it cut off some of the other teams. But your kill leader this week, Maddie Zappatelli with 137. Maddie Zappatelli, also your ace leader with 31. Bella Fix is your block leader with 33. Kayla Farley with 252 is the digs leader. Lexi Brown, 246 assists for that young lady, and that makes her the assist leader. And your Grand Valley Mustangs, 7-13. They go 2-2 last week, defeating Beechwood and Chalker, but taking losses to Crestwood and Berkshire. I think it's Berkshire. I've heard Berkshire. I've heard Berkshire. Whichever one it is, go ahead and correct me. I would love to know the actual pronunciation of that one. But Riley Rogers is your kill leader with 126. Michaela Hopes is your ace leader with 45. Dixie Miller is your block leader with 19. Michaela Hopes is your dig leader with 205. And Caitlin Bauman is your assist leader with 327. And your Pymatuning Valley Lakers, with a record of 6-15, they went 1-1 last week, defeating Bloomfield and taking a loss to a very, very good Edgewood Warriors team. Still no stats available for them at this time, but best of luck to those young ladies as we get ready for tournament time. And those are your leaders this week in the county. Let's get rid of that and bring this back up. All right, everybody, we're going to go through some of the scores from last week. And let's get this brought up. And you can find all of your scores and all of your information right here on ysnlive.com under scores. So we'll start off here at the top. You got Brookfield and Campbell Memorial. Brookfield going 48-8 over Campbell Memorial. Listen, even if you are only a fan of county football, it's time you start looking at the scores going on around you, because these are some of the teams that are going to be playoff matchups for these county teams. And guess what? All of that information is going to be right here on YSN. Edgewood and Conneaut, ladies and gentlemen, this one was the one. This one was probably the game of the week last week. It was the game of the night, Friday night. The Conneaut Spartans go out there and they get one done, a 3-point victory, making Edgewood last year beat them in a similar fashion by 1 point. Conneaut stealing the victory at home this year like Edgewood did last year. It was a great back and forth game. Both teams played well. Wyatt Payne, as if anybody is surprised, had an absolute monster of a game. But 27-24, the final in that one. You got Howland and Cheney. Cheney goes 46-15 over Howland. Lisbon and Latonia, it's all Lisbon in this one, 50-23. Poland and Girard, 38-35. Poland pulls this one out. That was a close game, and that was one of those games. Honestly, I thought Poland was going to go out there and get it done, but Girard, as people from PV know, because they played this team earlier in this year, they've got a very special player by the name of Anton Garner, and he's going to keep them in games. Poland's a very, very good football team. McDonald puts a 40-piece on Wyndham, 40-6. Waterloo and Western Reserve, 61-8. They're still tallying the score in that one. South Range and Niles is 49-14. South Range getting right back on the train after taking their first loss in like 3 years early in the season. Champion and Crestview, it's Crestview 37-10. Garrettsville Garfield, 42-14 over Newton Falls. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't familiarized yourself with Garrettsville Garfield, you better get ready. This team is going to make a run. They are very, very good. They run the ball. They're big. They're strong. It's somebody you should be keeping an eye on. Lakeview and Hubbard, a great game over there, 28-14. Madison and Jefferson. Madison goes out there, and they have been one of the best teams in the area as well this year, 44-7, and it is setting up a monster of a game this week. Unfortunately, because there is no contract signed with either one of those schools, that game will not be on YSN, as they will take on the 7-1 Geneva Eagles. I'm very interested to see how that one's going to end, though. Carrollton goes 21-7 over Salem. Warren G. Harding, 24-21 over Cardinal Mooney. Buckeye Local is going to fall to Edison, 41-6. Those PV boys got the job done, 48-0 over Matthews. All right, we're going to go Columbiana, 43, East Palestine, 20. Glenville and Archbishop Hoban, this was another one of those games. Not only were people paying attention to locally, this was nationally being watched by a lot of people. And that was Archbishop Hoban, 28-16 over Glenville. The Tarblooders, one of the best teams in the state. The Archbishop Hoban Knights are one of the best teams in the country. It is really fun to watch those guys, and that was a game, that was really fun to watch. I believe Ty Bartell was on that call, and he just does a phenomenal job. It's one of those ones right over there in the archive, very worth the $2.99 to pull it out of the archive. Jackson Milton is going to fall to Lowellville, 35-14. Massillon Washington goes 42-7 over Fitch. Cardinal goes 42-6 over Grand Valley. Cardinal really trying to keep those playoff hopes alive. Orange falls to Hawken 47-13. Boardman and Dover. It's all Dover in that one. 48 to 21. Struthers 34-8. They seem to have hit their stride out there as well. This one right here, Parma Heights Holy Name and Canfield, is a regional championship game rematch from last year, as Canfield played Holy Name, but this one ended just like that one did. Canfield 42-9, getting the best of them there. Geneva and Lakeside 49-6. It's all Eagles in that one. I've talked about Geneva. Unfortunately, we can't, really cover them, so you're not going to get to see any of the great plays that these young men have done all year, but you can see the ones from Friday. Being 100% honest with you, that Geneva team has one of the best backfields in the state of Ohio. It's really, really something to see when you're talking about Bryce Pete, Luke Smith, Kenny Young, Hayden Deemer, Luke Barbo. They got 5 guys that can score, 5 guys that can run, and I don't know who is going to get in their way in the regular season, and it's going to be a tall task for anybody in the postseason. Now, they do play in the most difficult division in Ohio right now because it's Division III, and once you get through this side of the state, which includes Chardon and Canfield and Ursuline, then you got to go against the Division II state champion from last year, Toledo Central Catholic, who, according to Joe Itel and Drew Pasteur, 97% chance of winning the state championship. I don't think I've ever seen anybody with that high. Even Glenville last year was only like 85. Mineral Ridge and Springfield. Springfield's 23-10 over Mineral Ridge. Villa Angela St. Joseph's is going to fall to Ursuline. I was just talking about those boys. The Fighting Irish are on one, and I don't know who's going to be able to stop them as well. They're big, they're strong, they're fast, and they play well. They don't get penalized a lot. It's a fun team to watch. They're very, very well coached out there. Going against Villa Angela St. Joe's, who has my favorite football name in the entire state of Ohio, in Bo Jackson, who is their running back. Bo Jackson, who is their running back, who is also a star baseball player for them and a star basketball player for them. Bo knows. He's like the reincarnation. If you haven't gone out to see him, go back and buy that game and check it out, because that kid's the real deal Holyfield. Anywhere's number 34. You can't make this stuff up, guys. Alliance and West Branch, 41-49 in that one. Alliance going to fall to West Branch. West Branch is a really good team this year as well. LeBray is going to fall to Liberty. The Leopards stepping up here at the end of the year, 15-35, and Beaver Local puts it on Indian Creek, 48-6. So those were your games from Friday night. At the end of the show, we'll talk about some of the games that are upcoming. I'm really, really looking forward to this. I'll be honest with you guys. I cannot believe that we are almost done with the regular season. We're going into week 9. We have 2 regular weeks of football left. They say time flies when you're having fun. Well, I must have been having a blast. Right. I got another comment here. Madison versus, unfortunately, no. It won't be on here. We've tried to get that one set up numerous times. My fingers are crossed, though, actually, because at some point we may be adding Madison to the family here. So that might be happening. If by some godsend that happens this week, then we'll be there. But until then, no, we don't have either one of those teams, which kind of stinks, But that's the way she goes, boys. All right, let's go over to what I think people are really getting into, and that's the stat leaders, and that's based on the comments I see every week. All right, everybody, right here in Ashtabula, it is a war in the sky. Yes, both teams are 7-1. It's going to be an incredible game. Again, it would be great to cover it, but without permissions, we can't do it. But getting back to the stat leaders, it's a war for the sky. It's going to see who is going to be the Iceman and who is going to be Maverick right here in Ashtabula. Tony Hall and Vin Narducci are going back and forth on this one. A huge week for Tony Hall, even in the loss against Conneaut. He throws for 309 yards, which is good enough to put him at 1,911 yards. He's got 22 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. He is knocking on the county record door. I know he's got some school records under his belt. It has been a phenomenal season for him. Right on his tail is going to be Vin Narducci. Now, Narducci has plays on Saturday against Fairport, and shout out to the Skippers. They did a phenomenal job in that game. But rain, I'm talking about an absolute deluge on that game, kept the ball out of the air. Very rare low passing output from Vin Narducci, who comes in this week in second place, 1,663 yards for him. He's got 14 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Alex DeSalvatore, in a very, very run-heavy offense, still out there getting the job done. 708 yards for him, 7 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. Sammy Goforth, he was digging himself out of a hole from the beginning of the year. Plus, they're a pretty run-heavy team. Only 589 yards for him, 4 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. Maybe that's one of the reasons why Coach is trying to get that ball on the ground a little bit more. Max Gleason, and you want to talk about a team that runs, that's a Rocco Dobrin-led team right there, folks. Max Gleason over at Conneaut, 356. He's got 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. And Cage Bozar with 178 yards and 1 touchdown. It's been a tough year for Jefferson, and I believe Cage Bozar is actually going to be lining up now at receiver as another guy in Dylan Burlingham was at least taking the snaps at quarterback on the last game I covered. So look for him to maybe peak up here in these passing leaders once we get some more stats on him. All right, we got Coach Terry Henton jumping in here. Tony has 50 career touchdown passes now. 8 as a sophomore, 20 last year, 22 so far this season. The record was 48. So that, like I said, there it is. The record's been broken, and we've got 2 weeks left in football. Unbelievable for Tony. It's been fun to watch. You know, this is a kid who can throw it all over the yard, and he does it every time he gets the chance. Let's head over to the rushing leaders. I talked about how bonkers the numbers were this week. It wasn't just the passing numbers. The running numbers this year are out of this world. Mind you, folks, we have 2 weeks left. We still have 2 weeks of football, 2 weeks of regular season football, and we have 2 guys already past 1,000 yards and 2 guys who are 1 game away from 1,000 yards. And that's 4 players, 2 teams. Wyatt Payne and Max Gleason are leading the pack. Wyatt Payne ahead in this one, 1,157 yards. He's got 9 touchdowns. Max Gleason, 138 carries. He's got 1,072 yards, 11 touchdowns. Oh my gosh. Are they fun to watch? These guys run the ball so well. I remember when we first started doing this, at that time, Conneaut was throwing the ball. You know, they had guys, I believe it was like Jake Slayton back in the day. You had Tellis Andrews out there who was, I think he ended the year as the county's top wide receiver. And I remember talking to Coach Dobrin and talking about how great they were at passing the ball. And he said, I'm just doing this because we've got guys and that's where their skill sets are. But he said, ultimately, I like to run the ball, and I'm looking forward to getting back to it. A lot of coaches don't want the stress of putting that thing in the air, and you don't have to put that thing in the air when you got guys like Wyatt Payne and Max Gleason. It is run, Rocco, run football over there in Conneaut, and it is working to perfection. Those guys are 5-3, and they are on the verge of hosting a second playoff game or another playoff game for the second year in a row. Outstanding work by the Spartans this year. From one dynamic duo to another dynamic duo as we go to Ryan Croston and Ty Vickery. 117 carries for Croston, 127 for Vickery. 949 yards for Croston, 926 yards for Vickery. You've got 12 touchdowns for Croston and 16 for Ty. These guys run the ball incredibly well. This is why the NAC, the A in NAC, is for Andover. Because in order to get a chance at it in that football conference, you got to figure out how to stop two of the most dynamic runners in that conference. These guys get the job done year in, year out. It's really, really fun to watch. I'm looking forward to seeing how this is going to go. I'm hoping for a dry night because I would love to see the high-flying pass offense of St. John go against the gritty run offense of PV. That's a dream come true to me. I'm really hoping this one has the makings of being a great game. Devin Miller from Lakeside with 90 carries and 90 carries, 621 yards. He's got 5 touchdowns. Cage Bozar, 63 carries for 585, 5 touchdowns for him. And Nate, the battering ram Bartone, 94 carries, 491 yards for that young man. He's also got 6 tutties. All right, back to the receiving yards. And again, the bonkers numbers will continue as Will Anderson comes into this one with 50 receptions, 2 games left in the season, 956 yards, 11 touchdowns. Will Anderson is a terror in the air when it comes, a terror for any defensive back. The kid gets open. When he catches the ball, boof, he's gone. He can run. He's got great hands. And that is one of the reasons why Vin Narducci's numbers are so great. That's one of the reasons why St. John has been so great this year. Those guys work together. Him and Narducci have a connection, and they make use of it. 50 receptions for 956 yards. I'll be looking over records at the end of the year. I know this kid is going to be at least top 10. Right behind him, Jacob Ernst. He's got 37 receptions for 651 yards and 7 touchdowns. And what makes that so impressive is Jacob Ernst is part of what is arguably the most talented wide receiver core in Northeast Ohio. There are 4 to 5 guys out there on that in that receiving core that can all catch the ball, that can all run a great route. They've all got separate skill sets. You've got a guy like Zachary Carlton Hull, who, is a little bit shorter, but you can't tackle him. He's incredibly fast. You've got a guy like Jacob Ernst, who is tall. He's got arms that seemingly can touch the top of the field goal post. He can jump out of the gym. He's a great basketball player, and you can throw, the moss balls over to him. You've got guys like Anthony Hunt who are excellent route runners and can cut you up into slices. Guys like Ben Schwartzfigger who can catch the ball, runs a great route. Hunter Brott who makes his bread and butter on offense, but the skill set translates to on defense, but the skill set translates to offense. It's a great wide receiving group over there. And to have somebody step up and get 37 receptions out there, very, very impressive for Jacob Ernst. We talk about Anthony Hunt with his 27 receptions, 414 yards, 3 touchdowns for him. Anthony Severino, 13 receptions, 379 yards, 4 touchdowns for that St. John Herald. And that is because people, once they start spending all of their time guarding Will Anderson, they forget that the St. John Heralds have another great athlete right over on the other side. And Anthony Severino has the speed and the hands to make you pay every time. Robert Rogers, 16 receptions for 623 yards. He's only got 2 touchdowns because they've gone run heavy this year. Ryan Williams, he's a fullback, you guys. This is a running back on here. 28 receptions for him, 318 yards. He hasn't scored yet, but he has made every poor defensive back in his wake pay every time he catches the ball. Zachary Carlton Hull, we talked about him as well. 19 receptions for him, 318 yards, 6 touchdowns. He is a big play waiting to happen. He is one cut into the dust. See ya. You're never going to get your hands on him. All right, everybody, it's time for the total tackle leaders of this week. And this is the part of the show where I remind everybody how we calculate tackles on this show. 1 point for a solo tackle. You get half of a point for an assist tackle. You get 1 point for a sack, 1 point for a tackle for loss. Add them all up together, you get a TF or a total tackle number. That assist number is what brings a lot of people's tackle numbers down. Still a lot of tackles happening out there. Still a lot of great play this year. And we're going to start off at the top with Edgewood's top tackler, and that's Seth Enos. He has like a vision. He's like a heat seeker when it comes to the ball and the ball carrier. 96.5 carries for that man right there. I'm going to start calling him, like the Predator. Zeke Lucas, another Edgewood Warrior, I skipped over one. The battering ram, Nate Bartone with 77. So when he's not punishing defenses, he's on when he's not punishing defenses, he's on defense punishing offenses. That guy gets to the ball, makes tackles. He's strong as an ox, and you can't get around him. That's why he's got so many tackles. Zeke Lucas, another Edgewood Warrior out here, 73 tackles for him. Will Anderson has 63. So when he's not catching the ball, he's tackling you. Ty Koval, who comes into this year as Conneaut's all-time leading tackler, is just padding the stats at this point, folks. He is a phenomenal defensive player for the Spartans. 62.5 tackles for him. You got Ryan Williams, another one. We talk about the battering ram, Nate Bartone over at Lakeside. This is St. John's version of that. They got Ryan Williams, who's got 60 tackles. Randy Valeriano with 59.5 tackles coming into this week. Ryan Croston with 53, and Bryce Sperlin with 51.5. Bryce are also their kicker too. You talk about the guy that is a do-it-all for the Conneaut Spartans. How about Bryce? All right, coming into this week, your tackle for loss leaders. Seth Enos leading the pack with 15. Over there at Edgewood, you got Ryan Croston with 10, and he is tied with Abby Ortiz over at Lakeside. Zeke Lucas has 9 over at Edgewood. Mason Thor has 8. Nick Wyman has 7, and Ty Koval also with 7 tackles for loss himself. Your sack leaders coming into this one, we finally have a new sack leader. Huge week for Jaron Nowakowski, as he is now with 6 sacks, the county leader in quarterback sacks. He's taking over for Hank Wagner, who with 5 has led the pack for the last couple weeks. Right behind Hank Wagner is another PV Laker, and that's John Finello with 3.5. You got Nick Wyman with 3, tied with Ethan Osborne over there at Conneaut. Damian Brainerd over at PV with 2.5, and he's tied with Seth Enos at 2.5. And I want to tell you guys, I think there's like 11 other guys in the county right now that at least have 1, and there's like 6 that have 2. So a lot of quarterback sacks this year. And last but not least, it's the ball thieves, the ball hawks, and it's still Hunter Brott at the top. 4 interceptions for the Edgewood Warrior. Alex Simon in second with, he is tied for second place with Anthony Severino from St. John and Anthony Hunt from Edgewood. Also to be noted, 8 county players have at least 2 interceptions. 8 county players are tied with 2. Unbelievable year. I'm telling you, these stats this year have been absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. I've reviewed them a couple times myself. No way. All I do is get the stats and report them. That's it. Whatever they give me is what I put forward. I promise you guys. That's it. But those are your stat leaders for this week. It's been an incredible year. 8 weeks through football. We have 2 passers that are over 1,500 yards. 1 who's knocking on 2,000 yards. We have 4 rushers that are 2 rushers over 1,000 yards, 2 rushers that are almost over 1,000 yards. We have a wide receiver who has almost 1,000 yards. We have a tackler with 97, almost 97 tackles, 4 interceptions, 15 tackles for loss. It has been a year. The stats out this year are absolutely wild. I cannot wait to see how this is going to finish this year, because it has really been a war, especially that passing one going back and forth between those two. Who is going to be Ashtabula's top gun? Is it going to be Narducci? Is it going to be Tony Hall? We're going to find out here in the next couple weeks. All right, let's talk about some of the Week 9 matchups coming up. All right, so all of these matchups will be on YSN on Friday night. Again, the answer is not where will it be or when will it be. It's always on YSN right here. These games starting at 7 o'clock. We've got Lakeside taking on Conneaut. That one will be at Lakeside. It'll be the WOW crew going over to Lakeside and taking care of that one. Really, really excited for the partnership with those guys. They have been fun to work with all year. Very, very happy to get them to be a part of our team as well. Jefferson and Edgewood. Jefferson looking for their first win of the year. Edgewood looking to shake a 3-game losing streak. This is not where they thought they would be. That is for sure. Playoffs still very much alive for Edgewood. Going to have to get a big win over Jefferson, and then they're going to have to win the Battle of the Bridge, which is going to take some work because Lakeside is a pretty darn good team, especially at the end of the year. And Grand Valley at 2-6, going to Berkshire. It'll be Tyler Hartz on that call. I'm sorry, Jefferson and Edgewood will be Sean Prine and Larry Jennings on the call there. Grand Valley at Berkshire is going to be Tyler Hartz, and a Grand Valley student will be calling that game at Berkshire. That'll be a fun one right there to watch. And then Pymatuning Valley at 5-3 taking on St. John at home, or they'll be home taking on St. John, who are 3-5. This game huge for PV, not only because 6 wins essentially locks them up at home for the playoffs, but they're also going for their 5th consecutive NAC conference title. Unbelievable. That is, I can't remember, another team that has run the conference like that. Except when I was in high school when Lakeside won 4 straight, but we'll leave that there. You will have me on the call for this one. It'll be myself and Ray Torado on this one. It's going to be a fun one on Friday night. I'm very, very excited to get back out to Andover. It's always a great time. I have a fun, that crowd gets so into it, and it's so loud, and it's so fun to watch a crowd that is that invested. It doesn't get much better than that. So that's what we got going on this week. I'm really, really excited to see where we're at and what going into this. We're 2 weeks away from the end of the finals, or the end of the season. And we've got some teams that are planning on playing for week 11 right now. We've got some teams that have already made their bed and are ready to go. And some teams that are going to be fighting, and I think those are the games that are intriguing, are the teams that are fighting for that playoff spot. This is one of my favorite parts about local sports. It's the drama, it's the excitement, it's the anticipation, and that's what we see out here. Really, really looking forward to this week. So, for all of you, getting ready for these games, thank you so much. Everybody who tuned in tonight, I want to thank you all for tuning in, and we're getting ready for a great week of football, and I was wondering how I was going to approach this because I don't want this to become, this whole political thing on the show, but I try to do my best to kind of keep everything separated. But I guess it's time to talk a little bit about the fact that I will be running for the Ashtabula Area City School Board. So if you would go out there and vote for me, I would certainly appreciate it. It's a big year, a big election, and time for a big change. And I'm hoping that as somebody who cares a lot about kids, not only at Lakeside, but obviously around the entire county, that I'll be given a chance. So I will hope that you guys will consider voting for me on November 7th. Sam Torres for AACS board. All right, everybody, that's how I'm going to end this one. I want to thank you all for joining, and I will see you guys on Friday. For the 440 Sports Show, my name is Sam Torres, and this is for the 440.
This for the 440. This for the 440. For the city and the back roads, got a whole county full of them ghosts. All from the 440 and that goes. Hey, it's just for Beulah County. Yeah, right on your head like a bounty. Said I'm from Beulah, they know I'm from Beulah, so let me just go talk about my surroundings. Shout out them Eagles that's out in Geneva, them Lakers, oh yeah, that's Pymatuning Valley. We from the football chasing these goals. If you in the way, you get taken out proudly. resting, soaring with falcons. Said that you working, you ain't really working. You see that we working, our hands got a callus. Putting in reps till we moving some mountains. Edgel got warriors, they won't allow it. Me, I bleed green and gold, they know defeating those dragons who run the whole city. You wildin'. And they really doubt it, yeah. And next we gon' go to Grand Valley. Work like a horse and don't show no remorse. So opponents keep coming, we stack them and pile them, yeah. And Connie, I flooded with Spartans. As soon as they pull up on game day, we park them. Cause we number one in that spot, ain't a bargain. Man, shout out St. John, they be ballin' like Harden. This for the fofo. This for the fofo. This for the fofo.